there was 810 million that was sent to the State House, 2.2 billion for building the military research hospital, and 4.5 billion for the discontinued maize flour subsidy. Not all down the drain, because inside there was a subsidy which the current government is trying to run away from, and another 9.45 billion was allocated for road construction and 6 billion to Telecom Kenya for reasons that were not disclosed in the documents tabled in Parliament Tuesday. So is the government broke? When we're talking about all these monies, we're going to put that into perspective today. Thank you very much for taking your time to tune in to Look Up Business. My name is Simba Kiage, online at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. I am at Kiage Simba. Let's get talking. Milestone Games Limited has been dealt a blow in their hopes to run their betting business under the popular Sport Pesa brand in the country. This followed a petition from a businesswoman, Asnath Washera Maina, who has a 21% stake in Pevans East Africa that pioneered the sports gaming business in the country with the Sport Pesa brand. However, Pevans East Africa ceased operating after losing its license in 2019, partly due to the allegations of non-payment of taxes that the Kenya Revenue Authority last computed at 95 billion shillings. Ms. Maina and tycoon Paul Wanderi Ndungu, who have a 17% stake in Pevans East Africa, have accused Milestone Games of procuring the license under circumstances shrouded in mystery, faulting the betting and the licensing board for allowing Milestones to use the Sport Pesa brand, saying it acted unreasonably and in breach of laws governing betting. In an affidavit to the court, Mr. Ndungu claims that Karauri and Robert Masharia have interest in both Milestone Games and Pevans East Africa, but have taken actions that are hurting the latter without disclosing their conflict of interest to the court. In a ruling by Justice Anthony Ndungu, the court issued the temporary order suspending the license that was issued to Milestone Games last month by the Betting Control and Licensing Board to application from the disclosed facts. I am satisfied that an arguable case is established that requires ventilation and an inter-parties hearing. End quote. Now, Milestone Games, which indeed did come into the country or have in the past 2 years been relying on temporary court orders to operate amid battles over ownership over the Sport Pesa trademarks, is now in limbo after the ruling by Justice Anthony Ndungu of the High Court. Moving on, Speaker of the National Senate, Amasana Kingi, has implored the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, SRC, to look into improving parks for senators as the commission meets on Wednesday to deliberate on scrapping its sitting allowances for the lawmakers. Kingi argues that the oversight work of the Senate Assembly requires intensive monitoring of how the allocated budget is appropriated at the county level, hence the need for senators to be facilitated to fully carry out its constitutional mandate. Our reporter Humphrey Tender on this front. Now, the government, through the National Treasury, has availed 3.55 billion shillings to implement the subsidized fertilizer promised by President William Ruto during his inauguration. The amount will subsidize 71,000 metric tons of fertilizer to be distributed through the National Cereals and Produce Board effective September 19th, 2022 to grow food crops during the short rains.
As induction for the lawmakers continues, the thorny issue of sitting allowances in the National and Senate Assemblies has once again come to the fore. Voices of discontent from members of both assemblies who are not comfortable with the decision of the Salaries and Remuneration Commission to scrap off major allowances for the 13th Assembly sounding loudly.
Some savings so that we catch up with the lost time.
The lawmakers want the SRC Commission to review their decision.
Good morning. My name is Soipan Tuya.
On Wednesday, during the Senate induction in Naivasha, Speaker of the Senate Simba Kiage delved into the debate, insisting SRC should, as a matter of urgency, improve their packs to facilitate them carry out their constitutional mandate. Governments.
For the 10 years, if Senator Mazayo has to, traverse the county of Kilifi to see what I'm doing as a governor, I had to fuel his vehicle to do, to basically oversee what the county government is doing. I think you're talking about is not really an allowance. It is a facilitation that will enable the senators to actualize their constitutional mandate. It is not something new that they're demanding. It is not an additional amount of money that they want to add to the emoluments. It is, they simply want to be facilitated to undertake a constitutional duty.
In this crucial task, the Senate works in a watchdog role to ensure resources allocated to devolved units by the national government is not mismanaged. It is this nature of their work that Speaker Simba Kiage says Salaries and Remuneration Commission must facilitate in order to ensure there is proper running of county governments.
We talk of oversight. You cannot pretend to do oversight if you're not facilitated to go see exactly the resources that you have appropriated to the different counties, what these resources are doing. And the only way to do that is to enable, to facilitate the senators. Otherwise, there'll be Nairobi here, and Kenyans will start bashing them, that how comes we are seeing a lot of misuse of resources, and yet senators, you're not aware.
On Wednesday, the SRC Commission retreats to deliberate on this sensitive matter amid heightened calls for review of the packs. Whether or not there will be any change in this regard remains a wait-and-see situation. Henry Tende, Lookuptv.
I am Enoch Wambua, Senator.
The Central Bank of Kenya Governor Dr. Patrick Njoroge has assured members of the 13th Parliament that the country has enough forex reserves. In his address to members of parliament, Njoroge appeared as a man who wanted to paint the real picture of Kenya's economy to the incoming government so that they have a clear picture of what to pick as priority. Well, Edwin John Mukora with that breakdown. Edwin, take over.
Hey, good morning, Simba. Yes, indeed, Patrick Njoroge, the governor of the central bank, had a talk, the induction talk with the 13th Parliament at Safari Park. And with that talk, he gave us a mental picture of the Kenyan economy right now. He described the Kenyan economy as one that can be described as a voyage in the sea, in a boat. He called it MV Kenya. He said the country is doing well, but some of the anchors that are holding us back are like corruption, high inflation, weak institutions such as the KRA, the judiciary, and the police, and also the bad business environment in Kenya. But then he touched on one major point, that's the debt. Simba, when Njoroge was describing Kenya's debt, he said as if it's the keel of a boat. It's good for the boat to give it stability, but at time, when the keel is too big, the boat can capsize. So let's hear what Njoroge said about the debt of the country.
Compare because it has to us.
Then Njoroge spoke about the global inflation. Simba, our country right now, our inflation is at 8.5%. But Njoroge said this is not as bad as according to the bigger economies of the world, comparing to the US, the UK, and the other Euros countries. On our GDP, we are right now at around 7.4% growth. And what has made this inflation, like in Kenya, we can say most is about the high fuel and the high cost of food. So Njoroge has said, in our country, you're not doing as good as you're supposed to be, but you're not bad compared to the bigger economies that their inflation rate is about 2%. Let's hear what she said about the global inflation.
US, if you look, that's the red line, they're actually at 8.3. So inflation in the US is exactly like us. In effect, and I'm going to use this line, that used to be us. So in the US, it's 8.3. In the UK, it's 9.9, and it's going to break 10. So it will be in the double digits. And in the US also, it may end up in the double digits. Eurozone already at 9.1. The point is, these numbers are, let's just say, anathema to the advanced economies, because they used to have inflation at 2%. They're trying to get it to 2%. Now they are way above us.
Okay, lastly, Simba, there was an interesting conversation about the Bitcoin in the country. Do you know the MPs asked Mr. Njoroge, what about the Bitcoin and what if we could put our reserves to the Bitcoin? Simba, guess what he said about this? He said he better be held at committee and we throw away the key than putting our reserves in the Bitcoin. Do you know why he said this? He said that the Bitcoin is not reliable, it does not have the security or does not have that major transaction as normal currencies do have. So let's listen to what Mr. Njoroge said about the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency.
It's good. I can assure you I have a lot of people that have been pushing me to put our reserves in Bitcoin. You know, can you imagine that? If I did that, please take me to committee and throw away the key, you know, because I would have been out of my mind. That sort of craziness, I think you understand. And maybe you can do it with your own money and play around with it, yeah? But even your own money, I'm sure your family will not let you do it, because it's a crazy sort of, very volatile, you know. So I hope we understand each other on this. Last point.
Yeah, so those were the sentiments of Mr. Njoroge during the induction with the 13th Parliament, and he has warned the members of Parliament to be very careful about the debt. You know, the last Parliament raised the debt ceiling to about 8.6 trillion. So Simba, by this, he's telling us we are not bad, but we continue with this trend, our country is going to capsize, as he used the boat scenario. So let's see how this Parliament is going to conduct its issues on matters economy, and we hope they're going to do the best. Yeah, back to you, Simba.
Thank you very much, Edwin John Mukora, with that analysis. Now, let's clear what we have on the news desk this morning, where the recent inflationary adjustments by the Kenya Revenue Authority, coupled by plans to adjust excise duty on drinks by 6.3%, has been met by protests by bar owners in Kenya. Now, Bar Hotels Liquor Traders Association of Kenya, Balita Secretary General Boniface Gashoka, now says that the adjustments slated for October 1st will make alcoholic drinks expensive, a factor that will push majority of the consumers to illicit brew.
Bidhaa ambayo tunaita pombe ama bidhaa ya starehe imeongezewa taxes mara 2. Hili ni jaribio la 3 la kuongezea. Wakati tunafanya hivyo, msisahau ya kwamba sisi ndio tulikuwa watu ambao walilazimishwa wafunge biashara zao kwa sababu ya ugonjwa wa COVID. Na tulipoteza bilioni 150 na wafanyikazi 1250. Wakati tunaongezewa bei, sisi wanabiashara ambao wanafuata sheria, wamelipa leseni na wamefuata wazo lolote za serikali, hiyo ni kumaanisha ya kwamba tunataka kuongeza ukunywaji wa chang'aa. Leo vile tumefika hapa Isiolo, tumeona kuna watu kadhaa wamekufa. Hiyo ndio trend yenye tunataka ku-encourage. Na ndio tunaomba ya kwamba hili ni wazo ambalo liliwekwa na serikali iliyopita. Tunamuomba rais wetu, President William, wakati pombe ambayo inaitwa keg ilitengenezwa ili hasla Mkenya ule wa chini aweze kutumia. Huyu Commissioner General ambaye anaitwa Gethi, tunamuomba rais, nafikiri ni wakati aende nyumbani, kwa sababu wazo ambalo wako nalo hawezi badilika.
Sisi ndio tunaendesha uchumi. Nikiomba tu na mama yetu tulienda huko Kiroshe na kuuliza kabisa ufuatilie hii maneno, tusiongezewe pombe, sababu mkiongezea tunaendelea na changai na kuwa mingi. Kama pombe ile inaitwa ya keg, hawa watu wadogo waachiwe ndio waweze kukunywa. Tafadhali hiyo kitu msiongeze.
Well, the countdown doesn't stop, by the way, because it's been a couple of days after we saw that liquidity in the market just towards and after the general elections then really take effect in the market. We saw KPLC and Safaricom with the banking quarters by the NCBA also headlining that trading. And what we do know, NCBA, yes, decided to just take a different approach to the payment of the interim dividends from what we saw majority of the banking quarters do in the market, and that really sparked trading in that particular quarter. All right, let's see exactly where we are in as much as the trading is concerned quickly before we look into the big discussion today then. And we're going to begin from what were the biggest gainers, yes, from yesterday's trading. Now remember, it's been what, 2 hours and 26 minutes of trading. Let's watch out and see exactly how the markets are opened this morning. And I'll be giving you an update of exactly how the real-time trading now is then currently going on. All right, let's look at that. Not so much really in terms of the surprises. The market has been like this, by the way. Talking about Centum, yes, conversations about how that will be 6.1% increase. But if you look at that particular stock, then you will say, well, they're still doing at 9 shillings and 98 cents. They have not broken into the double-digit mark. Again, we've seen the likes of Uchumi as well being really among those ones who are headlining trading. If you look at it like that, then you will say indeed that this is a market that's now settling. We're not seeing so much offsets in terms of how those numbers look, and we do expect that those are going to be the numbers that we're going to look into throughout this week, because we've not seen so much really in terms of bigger jumps in the market since this week started. All right, let's look at the biggest losers, and on that we're looking for the surprise packages in that as the markets are opener this morning. Again, not so much really, because if we're seeing Crown there and Sanlam as well, not so much again. Scan Group again, they've been there because they're touching at 11 shillings and 20 cents. Again, Sanlam at 10 shillings and 40 cents. So not so much really. And Crown Paints coming in at 39 shillings and 15 cents. Again, the market was pretty much like this yesterday. So not so much really in terms of the bigger surprises in losers. All right, let's cross over to the biggest movers then. See whether we have a talking point in terms of the big boys who were running the volumes yesterday. Again, we are settling, and you can see Safaricom is back in again at 5.3 million shares traded at the end of trading yesterday. NCBA 1.6. By the NCBA is the big boy in terms of the volumes there, and we do know why, because then if you looked at what majority of the banking quarters were doing, they really did cancel the dividends, the interim dividends, with NCBA deciding to pay that 2 shillings. And you can see what that is doing in terms of investor sentiment in the market. KPLC, again, it has not died down. We're still talking about 1.2 million shares traded, with KCB again coming back on that with 200,000 shares traded as of end of trading yesterday. In fact, it was like this the day before yesterday, again with Safaricom, NCBA and KPLC being the big boys in terms of volumes. Again, we're seeing the same thing today. So markets are pretty much going down. I mean, we've not seen the 19 million, 13 million that Safaricom was drawing just 2 weeks ago. It's now back to basics on the NSA. Guess what? Every Monday we talk about what those numbers are looking like that. And if you have anything that we can give you to, we shall be giving you to as well. All right, let's take a short break. Once we come back, is the government broke? We do have Stella Soke, Site on Investments in the house.
chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
This is an ordinary day in Hilary's life.
I was called by someone who represented himself to me as a husband to her. And the guy told me that she has died on 18th April.
What's the first thing you do when you get out of bed in the morning?
Does it ever get boring being a Christian? How do women do it?
Personally, I just think the first thing, this is ideal for me, is actually give God the first couple of hours or minutes of your day.
That freedom to not just be anywhere and do anything